What's going on, Saints Nation, and welcome to week 2 out of 3 for your Call of Duty Cold War TESPA season. Where tonight your hometown heroes are going to be going up against Ontario Tech University. It's myself, Seymour. Alongside me is Mr. Danners himself. How you doing today, Danners?
It's been an eventful day, eventful weekend as well, but I'm looking forward to seeing another fantastic match here in the TESPA Collegiate Cold War. How are you doing, Colin?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic, and I'm always excited for some Call of Duty, especially for our match tonight because the Saints have been on a hot streak so far. From what I understand, this is one of the best seasons we've ever seen from our squad. So, I mean, we're off to a good start in map vetoes as well, as it is going to be Moscow Hardpoint for our first map, which I'm excited to see because it's probably my favorite map in the whole game. I think it's just it works so well, and as well as it seems like the Saints are pretty even on that one with like a 1-1 from the past weeks for Moscow Hardpoint.
Yeah, because last week it was just like uncontested. They took it there, but then yesterday versus the University of Texas Dallas did take that one over us, but it was still relatively close. I do believe it was about a 250 to about 160 scoreline for that, so not too bad, but Texas Dallas looked pretty solid there, but they did bring it back as soon as it started getting towards the search and destroy side of things. Sadly, we couldn't see the conclusion of that matchup, but with the lineup that we're seeing here today for the maps in general, you had mentioned Moscow Hardpoint, but we also do have on the board it's Checkmate, SND, Moscow Control. Then, if we do end up needing them for map number 4, Crossroads Hardpoint, and then Armada S&D, which, like I think I was telling you earlier, I don't think we've seen the Saints on Armada yet this season. So, be looking forward to seeing if it comes down to that Game 5 scenario. What are we looking at?
Well, yeah, I mean, if we come down to the Game 5 scenario, going on to Armada, it's pretty new for me as well for Surge. But my eyes right now are on those first 3 maps, Danners, because if we're going to Moscow, it's going to be crucial that the Saints start off strong. Depending on depending on which spawn you have for Moscow, either way, you're going to have your work cut out for you. Because if you got blue spawns, you're going to have to hold on to your initial spawns to rotate from point 1 to point 2, because point 2 is going to be in your favor heavily. And then from there, you're just gonna have to break on through, try to retake the spawns one by one when it comes to point 3 and 4. But if you're starting off on the red spawn, you're looking at defending that first point, trying to break through and get as much time as you can from that, kind of push the enemy into their spawn, as well as working your way through the streets, working your way through screens, and trying to pull those spawns behind them, so that you have point 2 in your favor as well. So on either side, I think Moscow is going to be a heavy hitter, and it's going to be kind of detrimental to the rotations that are made, because there's a lot of money hills, and it's a lot of hills that are, in my opinion, difficult to break, such as fountains, and you can lock down streets with the proper utility. So Moscow is going
Mhm.
to be definitely one to watch out for. And if we're running over to Checkmate S&D for the second one, that's also a little bit difficult, because if you're looking at attack, I mean, you have 2 bomb sites that do favor the defenders. I mean, the bomb site on containers, the bomb site in plane. But you really have to watch for those initial picks, because the attackers, I mean, you got to get a little bit slippery in that one. You got to look for those in openings. You, like I said, with a lot of the point breaking on Moscow, you have to use your utility as well, because it's difficult to get in there. But once you do get in there, once you have control on it, it's also a difficult one to retake.
Yeah, you were mentioning actually a little bit before the stream, like the importance of smokes, especially for that A site on checkmate. Like you get picked off, and there goes one of your smokes. Like that can be a little bit difficult because, at least from what I remember, that container area, it is like the area you have to hold is actually somewhat open compared to, say, the plane, for example, where you're kind of closed off. So, and like those early picks that we know, we've seen Lavelle try to go for him a few times, actually, even by just whipping out the sniper rifle for the first couple of rounds, see if he can get hot on that and let the rest of the squad go. But even the players on assault rifles, like everybody else, Sauce, Swizz, and Priestley, it's not been a surprise to see them pull out a nice quick frag off the start of a round. But especially for these S&D maps, that'll be very critical for both sides. I've been obviously pumping up the Saint side of things, but it could go easily the opposite direction for Ontario Tech as well.
Well, yeah, one thing you're talking about is how you have on Checkmate a lot of open area. And that's one thing that's really difficult when you're looking at the attackers there. I mean, that's why you need those smokes to push in there. And when you get that bomb down, you have just, especially on the A side of things, if we're just keeping our eyes on containers. That's where I do think that most of the fights are going to be favored over at. You do have a good nade spam that could come at you. So you need those trophies. I know in S&D you have 2 smokes. I think teams are limited now to 3 trophies if they're following the GAs. So if they're watching out for the utility that they have, you really have to make sure you're locking that site down with your trophies, because the nade spam from the defenders, it's tough to do it because you have to cross that threshold past the containers. You have to walk into that open space, and it's difficult. I mean, the plane, you can go for that. I mean, I know that the attackers are going to be looking to have maybe that route runner kind of flex over to the bottom plane if he is going to watch underneath there and trying to look for some opening picks as well. But it's difficult. And I'm looking at utility as the main factor to get into those sites. If we move on, though, in this series, we're looking
Mhm.
at going back to the streets of Russia, heading back to Moscow for that control point. And control's another interesting one, Danners, because it's something that a lot of teams, they might have forgotten the fundamentals of it as Black Ops 4 kind of dwindled down and Modern Warfare brought back domination. So as we go into the Cold War scene, I see a lot of teams rely on rely on control as basically a bloodbath, which is
Right.
basically going pound for pound for each other. But if we're looking at Moscow, you have to play that very methodically. I know if you're looking at A and B, I mean, A is going to be located over at the fountain side, which is point 0.3 hard point, if everybody's wondering where that is. And point B is going to be in the statue courtyard. Both of those can be difficult to hold if you are the defenders. So a lot of defending teams will look to give up Statue Courtyard, maybe try to put a little bit of presence there and put most of their eggs into the fountain, because that's hard for the attackers as well to take control of. It's mostly just a push and pull on either side. And
Right.
a lot of teams will like to hold their lives, their respawns for that fountain control point, because you're gonna need it. And it's basically it's a huge war for that second one.
Definitely makes sense. I know even myself, I'm trying to get a hang of this whole control side of things. I've been so used to domination, even back in the high school days when I used to follow like as much COD as possible. It was always domination. So seeing control come out here, I like it a lot more. I'm looking forward to seeing more maps of it. And I was sad that I couldn't see it yesterday, but I'm hoping that all is well so we can see it here tonight.
And I
Because
think there's like
yeah,
I think
but
there's some changes in control that like it's like I think they had a little bit more of a handle on it in Black Ops 4 than it was in than it is right now in Cold War. And there's a few changes in the spawns that are just like, I mean, you're just spawning all the way out in Narnia sometimes when it comes to
yeah,
control. It's like you don't really know what to do at that point, because it's so hard to keep that pressure. For example, on that fountain's point is that you have to basically have a marathon across the map just to get back there. And it's hard a lot of the time for the attackers, because a lot of teams will just chalk it and say the defenders have won the round. But I think as we move into the season, a lot more teams will realize that the fundamentals of the game again, and they'll figure out those strategies. But I do definitely think that it's more a more competitive game for boots on the ground than domination is.
I mean, domination had its exciting moments. I remember constantly like there'd be one point of focus, and then there'd always be that one guy running around the back just trying to cause a nuisance to the other side. Which I mean, you could still see some small stuff like that with control if it makes it look like they're all blitzing point A, and then there's somebody who's still just checking point B, or maybe there's two of them looking to maybe get it past that first tick and secure it for later kind of thing. But nonetheless, looking forward to seeing what happens there. Of course, your starting lineup as of right now here for St. Clair is going to be coach and captain, of course, a.k.a. Lavelle, alongside Priestley, Sauce, and Swizz. I am 100% sure on that, actually. Just quickly going to double check that. But I know right now, yeah, it looks like that is going to be your starting lineup. Still waiting on the rosters for Ontario Tech. But for the time being here right now, it seems like some of the players are having a little bit of a hard time getting this lobby going, including one of our players as well. Apparently, Black Ops isn't being too nice to them right now. So just hang on very tight. We are looking to get game number 1 started momentarily here. Is there any additional things? Well, actually, I do have a question in regards to one of the maps that we very well could see later on tonight, which is Armada. Do you have any sort of breakdown for Armada by chance? You've had the
Okay.
answers for the rest of them. I'm curious if you have it for that.
Well, Armada is just like, it's basically a different kind of it's like a different monster in itself. I mean, you're looking at the bomb sites towards the control room, which is the middle of the map, and then the lower decks area, which is where your A bomb site's going to be. And I mean, lower decks, not where you're gonna see a lot of action. I do see teams favor the control room a lot, but at the same time, you have that variety of going to both points because you can drop a player into the water, play those off angles, be a little bit slippery and kind of like slimy down in the depths of the ocean, as well as just running routes, maybe being a little bit patient on either side of the map. The attackers just have so many options for Armada, but the defenders, you only have 4 people now. You really have to spread yourselves thin. You really have to check every corner, a little nook and cranny. So Armada's going to be interesting. I haven't seen Armada in 4v4 stances yet. I've only seen it in 2v2s, and let me tell you, it was an interesting map.
I'll definitely have to trust you on that one. Now, one of the interesting things that you mentioned earlier was spawns basically sending you to Narnia. Now, like, what exactly do you mean like that for someone who's like tries to follow a little bit of COD but maybe a little bit behind? Like, how do you how do you attempt to anyway? Because I know it may not be perfect, but how do you try to manipulate spawns that it actually like helps you even if you do end up going down?
Well, the thing with control is that so hardpoint's a little bit different from control. So hardpoint doesn't have set spawns. You can manipulate the spawns, usually taking 2 players to flood the back of the map or wherever spawn that it is. And those 2 players will manipulate it. You clear out the enemy, and then your team will most likely have a hold on it if you are in that threshold of the map. And the majority of it is going to put that presence in your favor. So if you take those spawns, it's going to be good for hardpoint. But in control, it's a little bit different. When I say you spawn out to Narnia, is because you have the set defender spawn and you have the set attacker spawn. And if I'm not mistaken, you can't manipulate those. So you'll be looking at fountains, which is on the other side of the map
Hmm.
from the attackers. And in order to get that, you're gonna have to push through point one of the hard point, through escalators or through the kind of the corridors to kind of go into their spawns and clear them out. But it's a long trek to do. That's why you have to be careful with your lives. That's why you have to really take into effect your presence on the map and how important it is for you to kind of stay alive in that sense.
All right, now thank you for all the knowledge, and it's in perfect time too. We're getting ready to hop in. Game number 1 between Ontario Tech University and St. Clair College now underway. So we have the hard point on Moscow, starting things off.
And it does look like the Saints have the preferred spawns. So I'm looking at point number 1 to just kind of be a toss-up. Let's see them contest it a little bit. You're already seeing Sauce go for them stuns, go for the information checks, and Swizz trying to slide in and find a few. If we're looking at Ontario Tech, it's Shadow, D, and Thanu, Hezi, and Exodia. And I'm going to be looking at how they overextend to try to take this presence away from the Saints. You already see Priestley and Sauce on the point, find 3 between the kind of duo. And it's going to be Saints finding action right away.
Definitely a good start. They're going to be able to try to milk this point as much as possible. Pretty well uncontested. Priestley already in position, finds one. He's going to have to be a little hesitant there, moving towards that point, but it doesn't even matter on the other side of things too. Sauce and Priestley both doing a fantastic job covering both of these entrances. As this next point is just about to get underway, Priestley going to find himself another, opening the door for St. Clair to get this point as well.
And it's huge that Saints have 25% off of that first spawn. I know Ontario Tech, they're really putting their efforts into clearing point number 2, but got to put it to Priestley. Excellent job at shutting down the push from screens. You're now looking for the flood from Ontario Tech on that orange side. And St. Clair, they got those power positions. The AK-47, such a powerful beater from the far ends of the earth. And the flank as well coming through apartments. You see number 7 and 6 on the mini-map, Dan. This is going to be interesting. And Ontario Tech, they still have 30 seconds if they break this.
They still have a little bit of time, but at the same time here, Sauce is able to hang on for dear life here. Swizz is here for reinforcements, and the rest of the St. Clair squad are right around the corner. So you see Priestley picking up another kill onto Thanu, and it's going to be completely cleaned up, and it looks like Ontario Tech are going to look to rotate towards this next point and just pass this one on over.
And it's something that I was telling you in the pregame, Denners, is that point number 1, if you can't break the spawns, it's almost chalked. So I like that Ontario Tech at like the 20-second mark, they're rotating over to point 3. They're looking to lock this down, but Swizz What a disgusting headshot. And now you got to look for the green to flood through and take the spawns away from number 8 and number 6. They're setting up for it. Priestley goes down, but Lavelle, he's going to be that pain in the butt right now. He gets one, but traded out by Exodia. Swizz is the next one up. Finds one, but honestly, it looks like Saints are just going back and forth right now in the kill feed, Dan.
Yeah, unfortunately there, Swizz may have gotten the one kill, but he was the only one anywhere nearby the point, so he was forced to retreat and wait for the rest of the team to show up here. But now they're finding their opportunity to get some kills. AK Lavelle and Priestley both getting on the board. However, Lavelle getting traded out, but the respawns again are just allowing for constant reinforcements. Saints are getting wiped out here.
Exactly, and I was telling you, this is a power hill for a reason. They've soaked up 42 seconds already, and they're still counting up. It's a difficult one to break, and you have to focus on the spawns first. And Saints had the right idea, but Ontario Tech, they just won the right gunfights. You see Thano with the beatdown onto Lavelle, gets the second one onto Swizz. They're making their way over to point number 4, and then it's already only about a 10-point game. Priestley beaming at range. He's looking to lock this down for the Saints. Doesn't have a trophy system just yet, so the utility, it's going to be important for Ontario Tech.
Low-key, I was kind of getting worried there after we saw the first initial point going over to St. Clair so convincingly, but now we see Ontario Tech coming back and fighting hot. But it's a back-and-forth battle here, actually, for this next point. Exodia barely hanging on for dear life. That grenade going to force him to move, but he's going to end up getting traded out in the end. Still back and forth. St. Clair currently in possession, but not for long. Swizz does go down after Shadow DN takes care of him there, but Sauce in the bus, just continuing to have this solid long sight line towards the point. Granted, nobody getting the points right now, but I guess St. Clair doesn't necessarily mind since they're hanging on to the lead for at least the moment.
Well, you got to be a little bit afraid right now if you're a Saints fan. And why is that? Because the greens are spawning towards the left side of the minimap, meaning point 1 and point 2 are going to be in control of Ontario Tech for the second rotation. So Saints have to act fast. If they want to hold on to this lead, they have to break through these holds that Ontario Tech are putting down. You see Swizz with that MP5, finds the kill on the Shadow, looks to push on through the middle of the map. Exodia gets absolutely burned. And Thano, he shuts it down, but the Saints, they're still looking to hold down point 1 as well. You need to see those green arrows take the spawns as well. And you see, finally, Ontario Tech, they're going to be spawning out. Lavelle takes the spawns away from him, and apartments are full in control of your St. Clair Saints.
Well, just for the moment now, unfortunately, by going to get those spawns, this point is now back under contest. We have Sauce trying to do his best to hang on for dear life between the two members. As Priestley, or not, Swizz actually, who's there, does end up going down. Okay, they are going to be able to clean up. It's still Priestley from afar, but this point has about, 15 seconds left on it. They were able to get at least a little bit, but unfortunately for the Saints, not getting as much as maybe they were looking for. And another nice shot there coming out from Thano. But Sauce looking to try and battle back this next point right around the corner. And now these spawns here for St. Clair, if this is where it stays, would be perfect, considering the point is right around the corner.
I think Exodia summoned the boomstick because I'm pretty sure I saw him with the sniper in the kill feed, Dan. So I want to see if he's actually going to stick with this absolute beam of a gun from long distance. But it's not going to favor him for the short distance, but he does swap to AK-47. So he's going to break through point number 2. Lavelle getting taken out by Thano, who's got the Krig in the top apps window. But this is a great hold right now from Ontario Tech as they managed to break through the spawn stand and take number 2. You see Priestley trying to do everything that he can, but Saints, they might just look towards point 3 at this point.
Yeah, as much as they're taking down the Ontario Tech squad, it is very quickly just then having to deal with the reinforcements that come shortly after. Nice use of the stun grenade there to try and make something happen. But again, Thanu's in perfect position. Exodia's hanging on for dear life. And this entire point is going to be going over to the side of Ontario Tech. We have ourselves a tie game, and Saints are already positioned here. I believe this is the Fountain, looking to try and make something happen at this next point.
Sauce, he's going to be holding on to the Eskies. So let's see if he can lock down Escalators. He loses the initial fight to Exodia, doing a great job at pushing and bullying his way through these sight lines and the power angles of St. Clair Saints. Priestley with a great opening now. Shadow going to be contesting the point. Exodia with a great overwatch now, taking out Priestley, who is watching over his player on the point. Spawn still in favor of the Saints, but you got to be scared because Priestley, he actually spawned out Danners. Lavelle doing everything that he can to lock this down. Look how far away from the action he is, but that's got to be scary. But now Priestley, he's got the pinch. He takes out 2. He gets traded out by Hezi. Okay, contention's still there for Saints. They're holding on to this 10-point lead. They have to look for the rotations now.
All right, so they at least get themselves a little bit of a lead back here. Lavelle does eventually go down as Thano finds him down in the corner. At this point, pretty much going to be uncontested now. Back down towards the south, we do see Exodia already ready and waiting alongside Shadow Dien in order to get this point ready and or as soon as it ends up being unleashed. But we do see Priestley looking to try and make the play, but the refrag, rather, going to be successful, and now Saints are going to be able to grab hold of this thing. Now, how long can they hang on?
You know, Priestley was such a force to be reckoned with in Modern Warfare. He looks like he's not slowing down in the Cold War as well. You do see Swizz with that trophy system on the car. He's going to find that opening pick onto Hezi. The overview from Priestley's going to find 2 as well. 3 go down for Ontario Tech, and St. Clair's locking down point number 4. The nades are coming in. It's going to put a little bit of damage onto Swizz, but Priestley's trying to break on through and push these sightlines even farther. St. Clair, they're going to take an out and some heat onto Swizz, but Lavelle with the shots finds 2. Ontario Tech looks like they're going to be sent on back, and St. Clair better be looking for point number 1 now, Dan, because this rotation is going to be crucial. 179 to 123 Ontario Tech. They can look to get a lot of time off the next 2.
I'll have to see if they've improved any, because I know from the University of Texas Dallas match yesterday, there's a lot of times on this map specifically where in between the hard points, when trying to transition and rotate over, they would be the ones constantly getting picked over and over again. That being said, though, they've done it quite successfully. They have that center pretty well locked down. Priestley and Swizz finding one. Priestley eventually does end up going down, but Swizz going to clean this right back up, and the points just keep on going here for St. Clair. Exodia not going to be able to deal with Swizz either. Nicely done.
You know, the brand new 4th Honest 6 spray getting shut down by Shadow's Semtex. Priestley now on Statue. He's going to find Thanu on that crossfire. Sauce now in the point contesting it. Not going to spot out Hezi, actually. His own gun going to be blocking off that sight line. Priestley now pushing in from the courtyard. Finds one. Pushes on through. Trying to jump up half wall, but Thanu with the crossfire going to find him as well in the back. You're going to see second point. Going to be in favor right now of the orange, as it is Lavelle going down all the way in the back of the map. Now Sauce going to be in screen. Spotted out by Shadow. Exodia finding the second, shutting down the initial push.
Solid positioning there from Shadow, as he was able to get 2 nice and quick and allow them to get these first initial points on this next hard point. You see Priestley leading the charge here for the Saint squad, looking to take down Exodia. He got the open fire, but okay, he does end up finishing him off anyway. Was kind of worried there for a second, but they know where Shadow is. They're keeping an eye. We see Sauce ready at the slightest of moments just to be able to jump in there, pop the nade in there as well. Looks like Lavelle going to follow up right around the corner, but they're still not able to get onto that point itself, as Thanu and Exodia still able to hang on for the time being. Lavelle going to try and contest. I believe this is Shadow still up in the high ground. No, actually looking... Oh, there it goes. Does find him, but does not win that fight, unfortunately. But the rest of the Saints coming in clutch. They distracted Shadow long enough that they got their opening.
Now take a look at the mini-map. Number 7, number 5, they're going to be spawning towards point 3. Fountains. It's going to be heavily in favor right now of OT. At this time being, it's going to go to the third hard point as well. 240 though to 148, a whole 100-point lead for the St. Clair Saints. Thanu maybe getting caught out in the middle of the map. Priestley though, he's going to go down instead. Ontario Tech Orange going to have full control right away. Look at this play though. AKA Lavelle, he's where he was last time. Danners, if he can find number 8 here, Exodia would be a good opening. I don't think Exodia spotted him out, so he's been being a little bit slippery. The snake in the boot right there. As AKA Lavelle's going to find that opening. Priestley with the second. The green are flooding in. They're looking to take control.
It just takes one more control here for St. Clair to bring this to the 250 and give them the victory here in this matchup. Ontario Tech needs to move now. The time is ticking. Somebody needs to contest, but nobody can get through. St. Clair going to take game number 1 in a 250 to 175 fashion.
And that's something you have to look at. You know, St. Clair doing a great job at the long game instead of the heads-ahead, kind of putting iron on iron. You know, they were really working the spawns and manipulating the game into their own favor. And towards the end of the map, they were okay with giving some time up, as they just had to pull the spawns out from behind them and do their job. So Swizz in the final play of the game, you see that nice turn on to Exodia. Wasn't able to get the next player, but just enough so that the St. Clair Saints can break through and get that initial contention on that first point.
A fantastic start there for St. Clair. Granted, Ontario Tech was definitely giving St. Clair the run for the money. There's a few times where they felt like they did get out-rotate them a little bit and was able to just hang on to those, was it the money hills that you referred to it as before, and essentially milk them dry. But at the same time, yeah, like St. Clair doesn't mind giving up some time to secure the next points if necessary. So successfully pulling that one off here this time by, but now we get to slow things down a little bit. It's going to be, of course, search and destroy on checkmate. But before we do get to that point, is there any additional final thoughts of sorts towards that first game that you want to make note of?
It was really clean from the Saints. They weren't really looking at dominating Ontario Tech. They just wanted to win. So I really like what I'm seeing out of the squad. Swizz being that new addition to the team, looks to be shining and really putting a great addition into it as that submachine gun role. He's really running those routes and really pushing through when he needs to. I know the Saints in the past, they had a problem with objective players. So Swizz is doing a great job at being able to hold down the points and still slay out when he can. But you're right. We are going to be slowing things down here, Danners. We're going to be moving to checkmate S&D. I do want to see how the Saints can perform on this attack, because if they're going to be starting on there, which we do see OTU, Ontario Tech, hosting this map as well as the last. So that means the Saints, Clair Saints, are going to be starting out actually on defense this time. As they are on the mini map, it is going to be the St. Clair Saints, who are orange. And it is going to be Ontario Tech, which is green. It's just a spectator glitch. This happens right now in Cold War. But Priestley is going to open up with that first click on the showdown, and that's going to be huge for the Saints.
Definitely a fantastic start here, as we now do see Ethan looking towards the plane bomb site, but he's not going to be met uncontested, as Swizz right there, ready and waiting, bomb down right on the B site. Nobody on the side of Ontario Tech is even anywhere near to try and contest this. We do see, I think that was Sauce charging in, or Swizz actually charging in, but then it doesn't matter. As soon as I switch on over, St. Clair managed to secure round number 1 here.
It's one thing you're looking at from the Saints is that, they're taking the space that is given to them. And Ontario Tech really gave up so much. I mean, preferring to go to the plane is going to open up the routes through containers. It's going to open up the routes on either side of the map. So it's going to really leave you open to the flanks, which Sauce just showed off there. It's one thing to really put into perspective there. The kind of the presence you need to spread across the map. So I see Swizz has the bomb in hand. He's going to also go towards the B plane. And Priestley going to take one side. You have to look from that overview, though. Priestley, he has to stay alive here. Last time it was Shadow dropping himself early. Sauce going to open up with the first, though. It's a huge pick again for the Saints.
Yeah, with one going down, we see Swizz moving forward. He might be able to get himself into position to plant, especially with Priestley right around the corner. And actually, Priestley finds himself another one of Shadow going down. Exodia going to eventually trade him out 1-for-1. As soon as I switch aside, Swizz finds himself the kill on Tehezi, which means it's only up to Exodia to stop our St. Clair squad from getting themselves their second point in this series.
This is a tough one indeed. The defenders, once again, Ontario Tech giving up a ton of space towards the Saints. And I mean, that opening from Sauce, I mean, that first pick he got, I didn't see who it was on, but the fact that he was able to see him from the corner, really leaving that information unchecked, is going to kind of put yourself at that one-man differential. I know Shadow, he looked to get a little bit over-aggressive at first, right, playing into St. Clair's hands again. So I guess it's just an overstatement from Ontario Tech right now, as they're leaving a lot of angles unchecked, and they're really playing into St. Clair's favor.
Kind of hoping to see Ontario Tech slow it down a little bit. It feels like both of these rounds, they've just gotten picked out by Priestley or by somebody on the side of St. Clair within the first couple seconds. Let's see what they can do with an actual, full-strength fight here. So we see Lavelle going right into the smoke, charging forward, actually, trying to really find himself an aggressive defending spot. Found Shadow, but was not going to give his position away. We now see them move towards the plane.
Look at all this open area that is going to be left for the flank. Shadow does find that snipe, evens it up for a 3-on-3, but Lavelle, he is in their back line. He spots out Hezi. Exodia is there as well, looks for the second, not going to find it, but he does tag him up quite a bit. Shadow's going to go for that flank, has the pistol out, going to absolutely drop Lavelle on the ground with that handgun, puts in a 2-on-2. So even with that flank, St. Clair not finding as much as you would have expected, but still doing the damage. It's still going to slow down the attack.
Man, I'll give him credit. That was cute. If that would have somehow wiped everybody, that would have been insane. But a nice shot from Priestley to now have this all down to Shadow to try and make the play here on the attack. Spot Swizz. Solid shot, actually, though, taking down Swizz. One-on-one battle between Shadow and Priestley to wrap this one up, and they're just kind of hemming and hawing over this plane site right now.
We pulled out the boomstick, and he found great value. He's going for the ace as well, Danner. So he's got 11 seconds to work with. Priestley giving up a ton, just looking for the retake at this point. So the bomb goes down at B. Priestley, he's going to be the first line of defense. I don't know if Priestley can actually spot this out. Oh, he can. He can see his leg, so he just gets the kill. I mean, Shadow did a phenomenal job for Ontario Tech there, but it's not a one-man game. You can't have a one-man army in this right now, and it's one thing that is really stemming to the issue of their attacks and their defenses is the amount of map space that they're leaving open. You see Lavelle, he really kind of played into it, and he really took advantage of it that round.
It was definitely a different move. I don't see that happen too often there, but at the end of the day, it was the clutch up by Priestley to secure Saints that next rounds. They move up 3-0, and of course, it's 1-6 here in these Search and Destroy series. So a solid start here for St. Clair as we're looking once again towards the plane. Priestley already pretty much right on top of the point, and he's going to be met by Hezi, who Hezi does... Oh, he gets blasted by his trophy. That's brutal.
Priestley, I don't know if that was on purpose, but that was disgusting. I mean, you throw the nade to finish off your own kill. Understanding that he might have had his trophy system close to it. Shadow finding a second one, but instantly traded the Swizz. It's a 2-on-2. They know where one's position is. They have the bomb down as well, Danners. So they're able to get out, and the bomb's planted for them. They can take their post-plant positions. And he is set up strongly. Shadow's going to be dropped, so no sniper on board. They see Exodia. Exodia going to be in another one-on-one. Priestley with a double kill to shut down round number 4. Saints, 4-0 right now, Danners. And it's just looking like Ontario Tech cannot find the answer.
Gosh, after that absolutely calculated grenade coming out of Priestley to get the trophy system to shoot off the Ontario Tech player, it just went all downhill from there. There was no control over the plane after that, and they were just able to completely run it over, making themselves successfully take care of that attack. And we need to see a little bit of a breath of life here going into Ontario Tech. They want to not go down to match points off of just 2 games rather. But it's right around the corner.
Lavelle, last time, really utilized the space. Drops the smoke as well, Dennis. So maybe he's trying to fake out the enemy, but Shadow does spot him out. So it is going to be Sniper getting some information. Hezi is taken out, going over to the B side of the map, or the A site. Thanu has the bomb in hand, finds the kill on the sauce. This could be the opening to drop the bomb. If they, like I said in the pre-game, Danners, they get the bomb down on A. It's going to be a strong post-plant position for Ontario Tech.
Just need to find some smokes or something to cover their travel. Otherwise, it could be brutal. Lavelle finding Shadow. Sorry, back down to 2-on-3. Currently in the favor of St. Clair, of course. We do have Exodia in the plane, possibly make some of the high ground work if he can get out of here alive. We see Priestley. He's got himself a solid view over both sides here. Exodia does point himself out, and he's actually going to get Priestley taken down thanks to Thanu. So we have ourselves a 2v2 at the end of this one.
I definitely thought Swizz was watching that side, so snuck away. Lavelle once again with the flank. Dennis finds one, goes for the second. The wallbang comes on through, a.k.a. Lavelle. Drops 2 of them to take St. Clair to a 5-0 lead. And a breath of life is more than what you need right now if you want to come back to Ontario.
And just the positioning there. Lavelle not afraid to make these what I would normally see as an overextension. But he's making these work. He has like stealth level 100 apparently here in Call of Duty, making it work, getting behind enemy lines and finding some quick kills, especially right at the end there to finish that one off.
Honestly, we need a flank counter for Lavelle because I don't think I've seen this many people flank in Search and Destroy for a while. But Shadow with an opening pick on the sauce is a huge one indeed. Definitely a heavy hitter for the Saints. Priestley, though, still alive, holding out on the wing. He's got the head glitch. Swizz is going to be sieging out. B is spotted out. Thanu, Lavelle in the sniper tower. He's going to realize that flank is coming on board. And he's not going to let him do what he does himself.
Yeah, cutting that off nice and quick. So granted, St. Clair are down a player here in this setup. Priestley looking to try and possibly make a move. He's going to get denied, however, as Hezi going to take him out in that situation. Swizz still bomb in hand, couldn't make a play happen, but he's the only one like relatively far up. He's got the, I guess, the Overwatch coming out here from Lavelle, but it ends up being all down to Lavelle, as nobody on the side of Ontario Tech going down until Thanu does right there, right now. But can Lavelle find himself the ace to give St. Clair this win? It's a tall task, and we'll have to see.
A heavy task indeed. If I am Ontario Tech, I wouldn't get too greedy. You got 12 seconds for the win. Shadow spots him out and puts him down. Ontario Tech putting themselves on the board. And maybe the start of something new for this team. You do see the final kill cam is going to be Shadow here. He sees the barrel. Already knew he was there, so he's just waiting for that pressure. But Ontario Tech do a great job at letting St. Clair walk into them, not letting themselves get picked off in any mistakes. So I want to see them continue on that, Danners, and this attack. It's going to be difficult.
I mean, I know the Ontario Tech University fans in the chat are definitely happy about that one. They seemed a little distraught there for the majority of this set, but maybe that is the turnaround that they are looking for. And can they keep the momentum up after that, as we now see Ontario Tech back on the attack? We have Exodia, bomb in hand, is going to be up with Lavelle. Actually, no, Lavelle's under the plane. So, in fact, Exodia might be able to just squeak himself a bomb if he really wanted to do so. Shadow finding Lavelle, and now Saints down a player.
Well, I know the squad, Danners, even in the hard point, they were going pound for the Saints and winning out on a ton of gunfights. So I just feel like the search and destroy has just been positional mistakes that have favored St. Clair, and they have taken that 5-1 lead right now. But if Ontario Tech, they kind of bring themselves in, kind of breathe some life back into themselves. Exodia, he's looking for this with Swiss. I mean, that's just an easy pick at that most, just walking right into the sights of that AK-47. Bombs down at B. And the snipe's going to even it out to the lead in favor of Ontario Tech. He's going to go for the bomb drop as well. With 30 seconds, Sauce going to make it a 2-on-2. Swizz looking for another pick, but not going to find anything as the bomb's planted.
Yeah, it is planted, so St. Clair have the timer on their head now. And Sauce is kind of in an awkward spot. Swizz is getting absolutely peppered here, trying to find a way out of here, waiting for Sauce to get out here. He gets the dual victory with the pistol onto Shadow. Finally had an opportunity to get his gun reloaded, and now Sauce is here. Last one alive. Can he get there in time? 20 seconds left in this, or on the bomb, and it's not going to be successful. Ontario Tech going to pull that offense out and take themselves their second point here in this game.
I think both these teams just put on their dancing shoes because they were literally dancing around the map for each other, and it was definitely a tango between Sauce and Hezzy here.
Jump shots for days.
He's got to kind of figure out, maybe take some classes on how to dance, because definitely Hezzy has the edge on him for that one. It's going to be a 2 rounds right now to Ontario Tech. St. Clair still with that 3-round lead. And on map point as well, Danners. So it's going to be a little bit hard to look at if you are Ontario Tech. But, I mean, you're bringing it back, and you're doing a great job at it. So now you got to look at this defense and do it exactly like you did last time. Wait for St. Clair to come to you.
I mean, some teams, I suppose, perform a little bit better under pressure, and not giving yourself any leeway whatsoever to drop another round might be that kind of pressure. But we do see a 1-for-1 trade. Swizz gets one, but then Priestley goes down as well for the side of St. Clair. So 3-on-3. Still got just over, or under a minute rather, left in the game. Lavelle, that's a sniper rifle on hand. Looking to try and put some sort of support from the back lines, as he would be his closest target, but is covered up. So they're hovering around this B site. We do see, actually this is under the plane actually. So in theory, like obviously the Saints don't know this, but they should be able to make the plant. Unless there's something else that I'm not 100% sure of in this case here.
Well, yeah, they're going to go for the plant now. Swizz just taking a sweet time, making sure they're not leaving any stone unchecked when going for it. So bomb's going to be down. Post-plant positions are going to be reached for. Goes down, now leaves him in a 3-on-2, favoring Ontario Tech. Lavelle with the sniper, checking the flank as well. Sauce in his back pocket now. Sauce hasn't had a spectacular game number 2 right now, but now's a better time than ever to bring it back. But Thanu shuts him down after Shadow gets the better of Lavelle. It's going to be another round to Ontario Tech. And, you know, one thing that I'm seeing right now, Danners, Priestley, he hasn't gotten a kill in a few rounds. Maybe Ontario Tech have finally figured out the calculations and the reactions of St. Clair, and they're starting to figure out how this team plays.
Yeah, if they are getting taken down a kill like rather early, it's traded back pretty much instantly. So there has been no more of this like 10 seconds in, it's already a 3v4 against us, and no more situations like that. And to be honest, with the, I don't know if it's fair for me to say this, but with playing the sniper, it's fantastic if you get the pick right away. But if not, you're kind of stuck. You can't really put yourself into a face-to-face confrontation. You're forced playing these long angles, which sometimes Like, they just need a person out on the floor. But we do see Lavelle right away. He puts the sniper down and puts himself in a fantastic position to get a flank, but he may have given himself away. No, it doesn't matter. Still did take Hezzy out. I was kind of worried there for a second for him, but now this is the kind of round that St. Clair's looking for. Lavelle just running circles, but he is going to be in hot pursuit here by the pistol of Shadow. Finally going to take him down. But now in this meantime, all that's left for Ontario Tech is just Exodia, who's in the plane basically by himself. He has no overwatch, no cover in the slightest. And he's going to have to retreat all the way back, and Saints have full control over these points.
And it's something that St. Clair just needed. They've got their spunk back, and they found what's been working the past rounds. Lavelle runs the route, gets in the back line, and Shadow with the absolute minimal worst timing ever. Doesn't spot out the rotation. Exodia going to be sliding to the bomb. Priestley's going to have his number traded out by the sniper, but 1-for-1 back and forth. St. Clair, they take map 2, 6-3. An excellent game number 2 for the green side of the board.
That little hop right there from Lavelle had me nervous that he whiffed on the stairwell, but he pulled it back. He made sure it took down one of the players very quickly to make sure that this game was already down a player, and a fantastic job from St. Clair in that search and destroy round. Was getting kind of nervous for a second there. They went, of course, 5 rounds pretty well uncontested, but then there was a little bit of extra, like a little hope for the side of Ontario Tech. They got some rounds back, but unfortunately they just could not keep it up. They left themselves absolutely no room for error and went down in the end.
But yeah, it's one thing that like Ontario Tech, they do very, very well is they bring it back in the late game. But it's that early game that you see St. Clair just coming out on top. And then eventually they just have that gap in the lead that they can just take their time, take a nice breath, recuperate, go over the strategies. And they just one by one, they take it back into their favor. So I think the Saints did a really good job of recuperating as those 3 rounds in a row did go back in favor of Ontario Tech. But now we're going to control. I would say this is probably St. Clair's worst game mode in hand because I think it's a lot of teams' worst game mode in hand because it's back into rotation and it wasn't here all year last year. So Ontario Tech, if they have a good time to bring it back, it would be this time right now. And control is an excellent swing game to bring this back in your favor because the hard point, it wasn't a blowout. And neither technically was the Search and Destroy. Search and Destroy was a little bit of a blowout at the start, but Ontario Tech found their footing. So if there's any better time to bring this back, right, it's right now. And this is a great swing game for the side of Ontario Tech.
Yeah, would you say that control in general is just like Saints' worst just because it's the newest in the situation? Or that like it's been something they've been struggling on? Because I know personally I've only seen a couple matches so far, and granted, majority of them have been like rather somewhat convincing, I should say. Well, the one I did stream on Sunday last week, it was convincing, but it was just one team. But just the newness of the control maps maybe taking Saints a little bit more time to get used to.
That it might be the fact, and it might just be the situation that because it's a new game, like we're both talking about, it's going to take a little bit for the fundamentals to come back in hand. But Moscow is going to be the setting, and it is going to be the streets of Russia where the St. Clair Saints look to take game number 3 and take this series in a 3-0 fashion. It's either that or Ontario Tech starts their rally back from this 2-0 deficit. As it is going to be a tough one, I'd say, for the attackers in the sense where you're looking to take Courtyard with ease. You're looking to just siege out the fountain site as the game goes on. If you're the defenders, you might not want to put all your eggs over towards Courtyard because it is definitely a back and forth that will not favor you if eventually the attackers do take over that B site. Moving over to A, it'll give them a little bit easier of a time in that sense. Swizz, he's going to be right in the midst of that B site looking for Thanu, but Exodia and Thanu both finding 2 right off the bat.
Yeah, it's a good one. Those 2 extremely quickly here. St. Clair, of course, trying to find their way over to these points, but right now kind of stuck in midst of this line of scrimmage. Swizz trying to make something happen, however, but Priestley, if he's not too careful, is about to get flanked upon. He's going to get blasted down. In fact, can he make himself get it back? He is going to get the 1-for-1. In theory, that should have been a double on the side of Ontario Tech, but nice job there from Priestley nonetheless. But still, St. Clair not making it past that first check mark, or that first checkpoint, rather, in terms of capturing this section here for point B. But halfway there, they do manage to snag that first part. Unless I was absolutely lying. I'm not 100% sure here.
Not gonna find the first bit of progression right away, but unlike Black Ops 4, the progression doesn't go away unless the enemies are on it, if I'm not mistaken. Thanu is gonna get another pick onto Swizz. He just keeps on running at this B site, looking for the progress, but Thanos shutting him down. You're down to 30 seconds. Sauce with the flank's gonna find Hezzy, gonna jump on board, knows that Thanos on the statue, but Priestley's gonna find that one, gets traded out. Exodia inside the apartments. Sauce has it in for him. Lavelle on the opposite side of the map. This is a great play. If you can distract the team long enough, you can set up the St. Clair Saints to take the B site of the map. You're going to see progression almost there for the St. Clair Saints. Exodia coming back to the windowsill. Sauce going to spot him out, but not go for the kill just yet. Exodia peeks again, going down. Sauce gets flanked by Hezzy. 20 seconds now, Danners. The Saints, they might be a little bit afraid right now.
Yeah, this is a little bit worrisome. Of course, you don't get time back unless you can actually control one of these points to its completion. And they're damn well trying, but they seem to be just constantly dropping here. Saints losing in regards to control, losing in regards to respawns as well. This might be Ontario Tech's mode.
Oh, 0 seconds? What? No way. Well, you do get time back if you capture it.
Yep,
and the
they
time
had somebody
is
there.
stalled out. Yeah, so St. Clair are going to capture it. 58 seconds now. Ontario Tech, 14 lives to St. Clair 7. This is going to be a tough one to St. Clair to crack, because you already see Shadow bringing it down to 6. There's only 4 players in it as well. Swizz going to find Exodia, trade it out, and St. Clair, they have to be methodical on this, Danners. They have to be slow, and they have to win their one-on-ones.
Absolutely. They destroyed their respawn count in this situation, and these extra little deaths that they're taking are not going to help them in the slightest. That being said, Sauce, Lavelle, everybody on the side of Saints looking to try and make something happen. Swizz getting involved as well. They're actually on this point in process of capturing, but a lot of members actually went down here. 3 respawns left on the board here for St. Clair. Otherwise, they could get completely wiped out, and we see a lot of Ontario Tech players right around the bend ready to breach this point.
Exactly. You see Swizz, he's not even bothering behind him because he knows his teammate has his back. It's going to be Sauce trying to do everything in the elbow, but Swizz is going to be the one to kind of take control of this. Priestley's going to be watching over behind him. Exodia's going to take him out. 2 off the board right now. St. Clair, no respawns, as it is Ontario Tech looking to take this first round.
And still 30 seconds left on the board, but everybody is dropping. It's all down to Priestley to somehow wipe everybody out and capture that point. Probably not going to happen here, but he's damn well going to try nonetheless. Bring them down to 7. But as we see, pretty much Ontario Tech just swarming this A site, making sure that no corner is left unattended. Exodia is going to find him, so Ontario Tech going to take this first round in this 1st to 3.
And, you know, I do expect the defenders to kind of favor out on these maps right now, but St. Clair, I was a little bit disappointed in their approach to the B site, Danners, because I want to see more of them siege this point out, because all you saw Swizz just trying to throw himself at Thano this whole time, who's holding onto that power position, but you want to see those ARs come to help him out, because if St. Clair, they need to take control of Courtyard with the minimal amount of a deficit on their lives, because that A site, as you can see, the spawns are close to it for the attackers,
right,
or the defenders, and they're just going to keep on coming back, and it's going to favor them even more so. Looking at the team to kind of put all their eggs towards B right away, capture it as fast as they can, because it's a difficult one if you waste too much time over at this B side.
There we go, last scrimmage. Lavelle going down extremely quickly, so the push towards B for the side of Ontario Tech going to be underway. Nice little shot there from Priestley, though. Going to at least trade it out 1 for 1, but now the points are on the board. Sauce from the side, going to get 1, but not deal with Shadow. The flank from Swizz could be something we see come into fruition in a moment, but a nice little shot from Lavelle. There we go, and now St. Clair going to be able to bring some of that control back down. Take it away a little bit, as we are in a lead, at least, in regards to respawns.
It's the exact same thing now. St. Clair doing a great job at slaying out in their spawn. Swizz cannot give that one up. Almost loses the gunfight. Finds Exodia as well. A great double kill in the midst. But I have no idea what happened. It looks like we got looks like the connection has been lost to the game, and I don't know if that was just for us, for the players too. But what's
I'm trying to get the update.
Trying to get the update right now, but as we do look at it, and as I'm going over this control site for the viewers, I mean, if people are new to Call of Duty and maybe new to Control in its fact. It is going to be 2 points on the map. You got the attackers, defenders, set spawns, 26 lives, and 4 players for each team. As those lives go down, there's different ways to lose out on this. You can eliminate all the lives and full wipe the enemy team, or the attackers can either capture point A, capture point B, or the defenders can hold out on those sites and the time limit can just kind of pass on down without them touching. So there's 3 different ways for the rounds to be finished. And St. Clair, they were really doing a great job at pushing out on defense there. It was really favoring them in that round number 2. Probably would have been a 1-1 at the end of that.
Yeah, so that's definitely frustrating. To apologize about that. For whatever reason, we just got straight up disconnected from the Blizzard servers. We're trying to get ourselves back into this. The game itself is still in progress. It was not the players. It is still happening. It was just for whatever reason on the spectator side, Blizzard just said be gone, or Activision said be gone with you. So we're trying to figure out if we can hop back into the game. I'm not sure if we can hop back in as this is underway. I'm still working with everybody in the process of trying to figure that out. Join.
Danners, it's it has to be something, right? It has to be something.
Hey, it wouldn't be a normal broadcast if there wasn't some sort of wrench thrown onto our plate. But hey, that's what the experience is for, right?
Exactly. Activision, they just like to give us a hard time. It's just testing our skills, and if we're able to get right back into the lobby. But we're gonna be trying everything we can, so bear with us as we do try to get back into this lobby. But Activision, they're not going to help us out here and pull us back easily. So it's going to be a grind to get back in. Isn't that right, Danners?
Absolutely. I'm kind of nervous here, to be honest. It says join game, but does that join me in as a player?
I mean,
I almost don't even want to try. I don't want to test that theory. I do not want to screw this up here. So, in all honesty, I think I have to just let this one go. And it's a piss off, but fortunately is what it is. I'm going to just try and getting it back in. Okay. I'm being told to go for it, so I'm going to hop right back in.
All right. There's no harm in trying. I mean, we could try it out, see if we hop back into this one. I'm curious to see who St. Clair and Ontario are in this matchup right now. Between the 2 of them. It does seem like an even matchup. I mean, game 1, Danners, if you look at it, it was just like, it wasn't too scary. I mean, Ontario Tech, they have it there. And if they can sneak this out from under St. Clair, they have the potential for an upset in the reverse sweep. So, you have an update?
Yeah, all good. So, it is a 1-1 game right now, and after that 1-1 game happened, they back out to let us back in. So we are going to get to see the conclusion of this. Unfortunately, a slight error from the servers going to maybe put a little bit of a halt in terms of momentum, but thankfully teams on both sides said, hey, get them back in here. So big props to both sides for letting us get this production back underway. So we hop in.
Add this to things you love to see.
Hey, I will take this error in return of a observing service that actually points me in the right direction of the player that I click. So big thank you to this developer for this one compared to the last one. But nonetheless, we are on round number 3, and it's looking like a bloodbath right off the start.
Exactly. We were talking about St. Clair, Ontario Tech 1-1. Disregard the 0-0 standing that you do see at the top. It's one thing that I was highlighting again last time. If they want to take point A, I do feel like they should go for point B right away, but it does look like 3 of them are going to favor over to this A site, and they're going to take control of it. No, there's a player over in elbow. It is going to be Exodia, not going to get anything thin. We're actually going to go down to Lavelle. So they have control of the A side right away, Danners. St. Clair, they might be coming out on top with the cheeky kind of switch on this angle, but you do see the flank coming in from 2 players on escalators, as well as 2 players through elbow. Thanu and Shadow going to find 2 together, and the retake from Ontario Tech is going to be there after a single progression for Saints.
And just when they think the push is done, Lavelle comes in for the quick double. Priestley's on the other side causing trouble. And there we go, a solid sweep here for St. Clair, who had both points basically under control for at least a brief moment. Swizz is whipping out the pistol, does not give the slightest of craps, just constantly like point blank with these players. And there we go, Sauce going on a spree as well. Lavelle off all the way to the left-hand side to try and sway some of these spawns, I would assume, or he's just looking to get cheeky and go right back as soon as they leave. But these points were both held for a pretty solid period of time here from St. Clair.
Well, Lavelle just seems like he's playing that distraction process right now, as you know, he keeps on bringing back Ontario Tech to the A side of the map and leaving B open for the rest of them. But Priestley, he's going to be here to help them out, see if they can get a dual progression now. It is going to be Swizz and Sauce trying to take him over at B. So dual progression on either point. Now B is a little bit closer to it, but not there just yet. Lavelle doing a great job at clearing out the spawns. Exodia going to find a double kill as well and clear that A side of the map. Suddenly, you're down to 23 seconds, Danners, and neither point is going to be taken.
I mean, it's great that you have so much progress on both points, but at the same time, you don't finish either of these points. It does not matter. You're going to get timed out here. And St. Clair, they're kind of close on respawns, but it feels like they're just kind of throwing themselves at Ontario Tech at this situation here. Sauce and the rest of the squad looking to try and make something happen. Priestley and Swizz both find themselves in elimination, and they're very close to hanging on to this B point, get themselves a little bit of extra time on the clock as long as they can survive.
Well, with their efforts over towards A, there's going to be 6 respawns to 8 respawns. Made it back on the game board. As Saints, they only need half of the progression left on A for this 1/3 tick. You already see Lavelle starting the siege, going to nade out elbow, see if he can find any information. Thanu close to the right. No, the stun should spot him out, but Sauce is going to do that instead. The smoke going to allow them to push up uncontested. Priestley looking for the flank as well. Swizz gets spotted out and dropped by Exodia. So suddenly you're down to 4 now. Lavelle going to be doing a great job, but caught out indeed. Priestley finds another one. Lavelle going to be bringing it back. 3 respawns to 5, Danners.
It's getting close, and time's not on their side either, so they can't be too hesitant about this as they start moving towards that A side. We do see it's going to be Priestley with Shadow, and actually in the other side, there's 2 kills going in the favor of Ontario Tech. 14 seconds left. Can St. Clair touch this point and get this thing contested, or are they going to run out of juice here? They're out of spawns. They need one perfect play, but it looks like Ontario Tech is ready and waiting for them, but they're at least going to try. Sauce already on point.
Oh, now it's all down to Sauce and Swizz. St. Clair, though, they get the progression. I wasn't even paying attention. I just expected Ontario Tech to have a foot on the point, but they just leave it uncontested. And, I mean, that is not something you like to see if you are Ontario Tech. A big mishap on the defense.
C9?
That's the first thing that came to my head. Is that the equivalent of a C9 in Call of Duty?
That definitely seems to be the case because, to be honest, Ontario Tech had everybody surrounded. They were all on the high ground, but of course, those good positions aren't actually in the capture zone. So you may not want to give it up right away. You don't want to jump down from your perch, but you had to contest that, and unfortunately, Sauce with the sneaky little play going to successfully give St. Clair that round.
It's a big misconception from main media about the high ground being the advantage, but obviously St. Clair showing that isn't the case right now. Lavelle doing a great job holding down buses, and, you know, they took the defense last time to make it 1-1. Now they're at a 2-1, Danners, and, you know, Ontario Tech, if they want to keep themselves in this matchup, they have to take this attack.
I mean, other than that little mishap, of course, Ontario Tech has been looking good so far in this control game mode, so we'll look to see them fight back here now that they're on the attack. We do see Exodia on point and possibly getting picked out here. Okay, Sauce going to find him, but only after half of that point was contested, or captured rather. But St. Clair going to try and bring some of that down as Priestley's going to hang on to this one. We do see Swizz not too far away as well for a little bit of a crossfire, and going to be successful defending this so far.
And we didn't get to see their defense last time, Danners, but from the looks of it, St. Clair just a huge nuisance in the spawns of Ontario Tech. Hezzy doing a great job at retaking the B site and progression back towards Ontario Tech now as you got Hezzy and Thanu both there. Thanu going to look for Sauce, finds Sauce, but cannot take Priestley out just yet. Priestley going to bring Exodia there. Thanu doing a great job at pushing out the St. Clair site. And the beatdown is going to leave B open.
Yeah, so this is looking like a rough one. We already have 3/4 of the way onto this B site, and that is a solid crossfire they have. I don't think they're going to be able to get this, or rather, St. Clair's going to be able to break this. So a nice quick capture here for Ontario Tech, and to be honest, they're keeping it extremely even in regards to respawns as well. So solid job from Ontario Tech so far. We do see Lavelle up to his old tricks once again, being the weirdo, apparently, according to the internet, with these flanks. But now with it's going towards his A site, we do see this is Swizz, Priestley, and Sauce right nearby as well, ready to hang on to spray through the smoke and hope that you can snag somebody.
Well, this is going to be scary now for Ontario Tech because you're even in respawns actually just down by 2. Swizz is going to be on that Heady right now. Hezzy going to find 2 with Thanu helping him out. Thanu going to go down, though, leaves it open for St. Clair to pull it back. Sauce going to be spotted by Exodia in the elbow and drop down. And one thing you really have to look at, though, in the long run of this, St. Clair is going to have the closer spawns. They're going to have the better power angles for the push into it. The smokes, they are favoring Ontario Tech right now, but once the smoke dwindles, is it going to be enough?
Well, it felt like if they have the proper spawns, it still felt like they were all the way to Narnia, because it took a long time for them to regroup and get back and ready to contest this. A quarter of this point basically captured by the time they finally start fighting. But it looks like they're going to be able to make up for that time by hanging on to the point and trying to deplete some of the capture. As long as they could win this, and they actually straight up didn't. So Lavelle's going to be the only one to try and clean this up. He finds 2, but he's not going to be able to find the rest. And everybody else is going to be trickling in at this point, and it's a bad time when you're just kind of running in 1-on-1.
Saints just need to pull it back, group up as a team. Swizz some beautiful shots at range. Hezzy in the corner. He's going to get the better. Lavelle caught with a grenade in hand. Not able to keep his gun up. Hezzy with the second one. Sauce, though, with 2. Priestley going to combine for 3. Going to neutralize this progression on the second tick from Ontario Tech. And Ontario Tech, they're down to 2 lives. The Saints is 5. So St. Clair, they just need to lock this down and not get too aggressive with their push.
And when Ontario Tech breaks in, they get in for a good period amount of time. But then St. Clair seems to be able to make their defense work and stick it in regards to capture percent as soon as they do win a fight. But look at this, a solid fight here for Ontario Tech. It's going to be up to Lavelle once again. He seems to be the only one at the end of these fights multiple times over and over. Sauce looking to try and turn this one around. Priestley finds one as well, and he's on a tear. This could be the move that they were looking for. Shuts down any sort of capture and takes care of all of their time bank, and I think the respawns as well. St. Clair end up taking game 3, and we have ourselves the 3-0.
Well, it's one thing that is so scary about Moscow Control is how much it favors the defense in the long run. I know it was as close as you can ask for from both teams, but even still, the trades just come out on top for the defense non-stop. So a great round from the St. Clair Saints as they are going to take the control 3-1 against Ontario Tech, as well as the series 3-0. And honestly, Ontario Tech, they weren't too far behind in it. I mean, if you run that back, you play that second defense that Ontario Tech had, they touch the point, they keep a foot onto that. That could be very different in the outcome. I mean, they had the advantage in lives as well. There was only 2 people left for the Saints to be holding off of. And that was just a big mishap that led to Saints winning that.
Well, I'm thankful that the players were able to get us back in there, because that was actually a fantastic ending to the series. Extremely close, back and forth. Granted, it's going to be one of those games where it was a 3-0, but did it really feel like a 3-0? Not really. Like you were saying, like Ontario Tech, they were maybe a step or 2 behind, but that was always something that could have been caught back up with. And then the unfortunate misplay at the end there where they had the positioning but just didn't have anybody on the capture point itself. Like, that's all stuff that if we end up having to play them again in like a playoff round or something like that, they can take that into consideration. They can move that forward, and it'll be in their minds for the next time that we play. It's a live and learn moment, and you want to get those out of your system in the regular season so we can see them in the playoffs, which, considering how short this season is, may not be that far away, actually.
Exactly, and a very, very unfortunate and a fatal decision right there from Ontario Tech, as nobody was on the point. Really left for St. Clair to kind of pull out on top with that one. I'm looking for Ontario Tech to keep the spirits up like you were preaching, as they are not too far behind from the Saints team in this skill, just one step forward. and they'll find that edge the next time. But St. Clair Saints, your hometown heroes, if you are the St. Clair viewers, they are going to be coming out on top with a hot 3-0 tonight. Danos was right. Did not feel like a 3-0, but on paper, you're pretty confident to see that 3-0 out here if you are a Saints fan. They're coming home tonight with the sweep, and they're looking forward to the past games. But Danners, do we have some news about the Saints team? Because they're looking for some more players, and, they're always looking to recruit as well, because the Saints team, they're never finished looking for some new talent, looking for some new ones. I know the St. Clair Saints Call of Duty team, they are going to be holding some recruitment tryouts.
Absolutely. Of course, all of our Saints are always accepting applications on our website and on our Discord. But there is something a little specific for Call of Duty. Colin, why don't you tell us about it?
Well, I'm so glad you were bringing this up, because for the fall 2021, we are going to be recruiting for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, December 1 to 3, 1st to 3rd. We are going to be holding some tryouts, some in-house tryouts in the St. Clair Saints Discord. And if you think you have what it takes to play for the Saints varsity team, as a member of St. Clair College as well and a full-time student, you might be able to bring yourself into this roster and help push to glory for the St. Clair Saints Call of Duty Cold War members. It is going to be a great thing to look forward to if you are the Saints team, as well as potentially a future member of the St. Clair Saints varsity squad. So I'm looking forward to how these tryouts turn out.
Hey, at the very least, it'll be a fun week of constant in-house matches with your local communities. Because I know, of course, our Saints Call of Duty team, they may seem like they set the bar really high, but regardless, we do want to hear from you. So be sure to join the Discord to make sure you can get in on our Call of Duty trial combine.
It doesn't hurt to put yourself on the radar. Might not get it this time, but you might be who we look at for the next time coming around. So I know that a lot of people, they are scared because they don't think they have what it takes. But we're not just looking for now. We're looking for we're looking for the future as well over at St. Clair College. And it's not just the future of teams. We do have the future of broadcast coming up as well, Danners. In the coming weeks, we have so many teams that are going to be looking and written down on the schedule.
Yeah, this goes I'll hop to the schedule in a quick second, but just to finish off with the tryout thing too, one thing to take into consideration, I know we just saw it yesterday and we've seen it I don't know how many times this season, but teams need subs. This is actually a thing too, and just because you're a sub, it's not like, oh, I'm just going to be the bench warmer, I sit at practice, I do nothing, I watch these guys go play, and I sit here and wait and cheer them on. No, these things come up, and people need to be subbed out. Heck, yesterday with the University of Texas Dallas game, one of their players had a prior commitment to try and attend to, and he ended up leaving his team high and dry because they didn't have any subs. You don't want to see that happen in the slightest, and that happens way more often than you think. So whether you make main roster, that'd be sick, but still, shoot for the sub spot too. That'd be absolutely fantastic across all games. It's not just a Call of Duty thing either. But in regards to the schedule, we still have lots of matches coming up this week. Why don't we go through them?
Exactly. You see it right up at the tippity top. You see St. Clair Saints Call of Duty team. They just performed right now with a nice 3-0 over Ontario Tech University. But upcoming on Wednesday, we have the League of Legends over on OPSE League, looking to take the games there, as well as Rainbow Six Siege returning on Friday, December 4th for some more CR6, it looks like. And then on the December 5th, the Saturday and the Sunday, 6th and the 5th, back in tune with the Call of Duty TESPA series, as your Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War squad will be back for next weekend. Danners, it's been a great broadcast, and what are you looking forward to in the upcoming ones?
I mean, all of these matches coming up, I mean, I know it's cliche to say that every match matters or whatnot, but it's kind of getting to the point where it does. Because for OPSE League of Legends, we are down to our final, I think, couple weeks of the league itself, and it's going to, seeding is going to matter going into the playoffs. And then for Friday's Collegiate R6, that is the season opener for the winter season. So a clean slate, our team barely did not make the top 4, I think, last time. I think we were either top 8 or top 16. It was a fantastic run nonetheless, but it all starts here with this season opener, see if they can start off on the right foot. And then this TESPA Collegiate Cold War League, This was only a 3-week regular season. So next week, Saturday, Sunday, is technically the season finale of this league until we hop into playoffs the next, like the week after that. So we get to see. Right now, our Saints are off to a fantastic start, if not undefeated. Of course, I couldn't fact check myself, but I think they are sitting either 3-1 or 4-0 currently in the season so far. And they're putting themselves in a damn good position to be a top seed here going in the playoffs. So all these matches coming up, it's just been extremely exciting. Our teams are in fantastic positions. And I really look forward to seeing how these end up turning out. It excites me greatly.
Exactly. And for tonight, it's been a great broadcast and a great matchup indeed, but all good things must come to an end. So just to recap everything for the viewers just tuning in, St. Clair Call of Duty came out with a nice 3-0 over Ontario Tech University after finding the win on Hardpoint Moscow, 250 to about 160, if I'm not mistaken. And
Yeah.
moving over to Checkmate S&D, they found the win 6-3 in that search and destroy matchup. Moving on to Moscow Control, we found the 3-1 lead. After a little bit of technical difficulties, you got to hop back in and see it, Danners. It's been a wonderful broadcast. Very thankful to be on here and cast alongside you. And to all the viewers, we'll be back with some more St. Clair action on Wednesday, December the 4th, with some League of Legends on St. Clair broadcast. So I hope to see you all there, and I hope you all have a great night.